Hi, and welcome to Living Greatly with Anna McKinley. So, would you like to improve your life? What's something you've been thinking about doing for a while? Something you want to do, something that excites you or would just feel good? Something you've been planning, maybe dreaming about, but putting off and not getting started on? We've all got something in our someday I'll basket, right? Maybe it's a lifestyle change, like taking up yoga or meditation or upgrading your morning routine. Maybe it's about learning a new skill or a hobby. Maybe it's simply reconnecting with an activity that you used to do that you know you enjoy. Maybe it's just making some changes to your social life and reconnecting with old friends or making new ones. Whatever it is, I've got a proposal for you. Join me in a 100-day challenge to actually get started and to build some momentum around that thing that you want and to start building some habits around it. So, what do I mean? What's this 100-day challenge? Well, it's super simple. It's about picking something that will improve your life, choosing a small action that you can start doing right away that will move you in that direction, and taking that small action each day for 100 days. And doing it knowing that you're not alone, because I'm doing it with you and others are as well. So, in fact, as part of my 100-day challenge, I'm providing support for you and everyone who chooses to do the challenge with me through this 100 days of motivational ideas, concepts, methods to help you actually stay the course. So, let's think about this. What's the benefit of joining me on this, of actually doing this 100-day challenge? Well, number one, the benefit is stop putting off that thing that you want and actually start doing it. You know, as human beings, we often think about things and then put them off. You know, we call it procrastination. But when we do this, when we put off the things that we think, oh, I should do, or I want to, or I will, and then we just don't do it, it actually disempowers us. And it actually disempowers us across all the areas of our lives. Because every single time we put off doing something that we said we'd do, what we're actually doing is training ourselves to be the kind of person who puts stuff off, who doesn't get things done, who's not an action taker. We teach ourselves to be a procrastinator, right? And that leaks into other areas of our life as well. When we're procrastinating as well about things that we really want, what are we doing? We're depriving ourselves of the benefit of having that. So that's the first thing. I mean, there's more too. Another benefit of joining me is you get to create what I call a momentum of accomplishment in your life. Do you like the sound of that? It's actually quite a lot of fun. Instead of being the kind of person who puts stuff off, when we actually start taking consistent action towards what we want, and it doesn't matter how big the action is, that's the really cool part. We start doing small things towards some goal every single day. A number of really positive things happen, most of it in our brains. The first thing is we start to shift our perception of ourselves from being the kind of person who puts stuff off to being the kind of person who gets things done. Because we can see the proof, we can see the evidence, right? I'm doing something small towards this every day. Even better, every single time we take a baby step towards what we want, we take an action of some kind, we get it done, especially when we actually recognize and acknowledge ourselves for that. Just simply that accomplishment, taking that action, that little win, gives us a hit of dopamine. Dopamine is, I'm pointing my finger because dopamine is something that we create. We get this hit of dopamine in our brain. Dopamine is what we call a neurotransmitter. It's a brain chemical, and in particular, it's our brain's reward chemical. It makes us feel good, right? It's tied to good feelings and feelings of motivation. And the really beautiful thing about this is that actually it doesn't matter how big or small the accomplishment is. The size of that chemical reward we get is the same, right? That's what I really love about this. So by taking a lot of tiny baby steps day after day, we get so much more motivational, good feeling, reward boost than we do if we take fewer, bigger actions, right? And the upshot of all this is that it helps you to build what I call a momentum of accomplishment. The accomplishment is one of the factors that positive psychologists have shown underpin our overall well-being and happiness, not just in the short term, but for the long haul as well. Martin Seligman has done a lot of work on this. If you're interested in finding out more, a good place to start is his book, Flourish. And here's the thing, if you choose to take consistent actions towards a goal that has personal meaning in your life, this is number 3. If you actually choose to make it something that's meaningful for you, it doesn't have to be meaningful for other people, just meaningful for you, the rewards are even greater because each day you'll see yourself making progress towards something that's important to you. And again, this underpins both our motivation and our well-being. And that's all on top of the benefit of actually getting to enjoy whatever that thing is that you want to do, right? So, from my perspective, there's clear benefits. What are the costs? Well, the costs are actually taking some action. And it might only be 5 minutes a day out of the 24 hours that you have in every single day, right? Actually, it doesn't need to be anything that's hard. In fact, you're better to choose actions that are so small and so easy to do that you're actually going to do them. And it doesn't need to take a lot of time. So, is this starting to make sense to you? The thing is that as human beings, we have a really strong tendency to put stuff off. Already talked about it. We call it procrastination. Most people are affected by this to some extent. In fact, as a coach, I've spent years coaching clients on how to beat procrastination, and I've seen this tendency show up in all sorts of ways across the board. But ultimately, the cost of procrastination is the same. When we procrastinate, when we put off doing something that matters to us, ultimately, the cost is our aspirations, our dreams, our quality of life, and our self-image. And there is only one way to beat procrastination when we get right down to it. That is through taking action, but a particular kind of action. Action that is so small that it's a no-brainer. It's just easy to do. The easier we can make it, the better, because then we can get started. And that's super important, getting started straight away, because when we hesitate, we talk ourselves out of it, and then we're lost. And in any case, there's never a perfect time. There is no right time, and the only time we have control over is now. So that's always the best time to start, right? What do they say? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is today. And the third piece around beating procrastination is picking an action that we can do continuously. Because there's no point doing a small action once. That's not going to get you the benefit. Doing it repeatedly, continuously, is actually what's going to give you some real benefit from it, which is why the 100 days, right? Because that actually gives us a length of time. I mean, why 100 days? Why not 50 days or 200 days? Well, let's be honest, 100 is a nice round number. It's easy to remember and it sounds good, right? 100-day challenge. But also, 100 days is about making the change stick. And making the change stick, that takes time. There are no shortcuts around it, which is actually why most people fail in life, right? Is we don't stick at things long enough. Now, for lifestyle change or making a new behavior stick, there are a few things that we need to make happen. The first one is we want to make the thing familiar. Our brains love what's familiar and our brains avoid what's not familiar, which is, again, one of the reasons why we so often talk ourselves out of what we really want. So if we do something repeatedly for 100 days, by the end of the 100 days, whatever that thing is that you want, that you've been putting off, it's going to feel so much more familiar to your brain that you've got the momentum there, and it just becomes so much easier to do, right? As well, doing the thing repeatedly over a longer period of time is going to help you build some habits around it. So habits are behaviors that we've repeated so often that they've become automatic. We do them without really consciously thinking about it. I mean, think about which shoe you put on first, or brushing your teeth in the morning, all of these little things that we do without even having to consciously think about it. They're automatic sub-programs that are wired into our brain. Habits. And we do them without having to use willpower, so they become easy. We can keep doing it. So if there's a change that we want to make and we want it to last for the long term and we want it to feel like it's easy, a great way to do that is to start building some habits around it. And again, that takes time. There's no shortcuts. In fact, a study on habits, healthy lifestyle habits that was done in the UK looked at that question of, well, how long does it take to build a new habit? And what that study found was that the average length of time it takes is 66 days, but it actually depends on the habit. For some habits it's faster, but for some it actually takes a lot longer than that, depending on what that habit is. Now, actually forming new habits is a little bit more to it than that, than just doing the thing repeatedly. And in fact, actually stick with me over the next 100 days and I'll give you some other tips and methodologies that you can use to build habits that stick. But that's why the 100 days. Stick with me for 100 days and you're much more likely to build lasting change into your life. So how about it? Do you want to actually change your life over the next 100 days? Join me in the 100-day challenge. Hop onto my Facebook page as well, because I'm going to be posting things there to help you with it. And also it's a way to engage with other people who are doing this as well. So jump on that. I've put the link in the description to this little podcast video. And I'll see you there, because if you want to improve your life, there's no better time to start than now. Hey, I hope this has served you. Looking forward to having you on the challenge. Just before we go, I'm going to share what my challenge is. My challenge is actually sharing a video and podcast with you every day for the next 100 days to help you to make positive shifts in your life, and also to help me make some positive shifts in my life, because we're all in this together, right? Just as the backstory to that, so that you understand why I'm doing it, it's so I can help people like you, but it's also because my podcast and my YouTube channel are the things that I've been putting off, saying, I really want to do this, I really want to get started. Oh, now's not the right time. So now is the time. I'm getting started, and I'd love it if you join me on this journey of changing your life for good. Anyway, I will see you on the next episode. In the meantime, you have a fantastic day. Bye for now.